Yeah, that is right. Isometric game. So the angle of viewpoint to reveal facets of the environment that would not be visible from a top-down perspective.
Weird.
So yeah. So like there are two games in particular. I think it's Supergiant Games makes Hades, Transistor, and Bastion, and all of them. Well, I don't know about Hades because I haven't listened to it, but Transistor and Bastion have fantastic soundtracks. As a soundtrack person, you should go check it out. But it's not like score soundtrack. They are all produced by this dude, Darren Korb. It's really good. I enjoy it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, video games have a good. I mean, if you're a video game that you like doesn't have a good score, you're basically in trouble because you're gonna be listening to that whole thing for like. It's not like a movie where it's like 2 hours of it and you're done. It's like Zelda. It's like better be good music because I'm gonna be dungeoning for.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like sometimes. I've never played a game and thought about the music and thought, oh, this is bad and it's ruining my experience. I find, at least for me,
that's actually 100% true.
Elevate a game, but like if it's all bad, you're like, oh, this is all just sucks. And then I notice the music and it's worse. Like it ruins the experience. It's like I don't know. It's part of the dish that's not the main dish, but it enhances the flavor of the main thing that you're eating.
Like a fine wine.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it.
Hey.
Who is this? Who is Joseph's iPhone? Who the fuck is that?
I don't know anyone named Joseph.
I don't know anybody's iPhone. It's very confusing. Oh my god, that's frightening. You have to say something about the mask, like no one cared who I was until I took the mask off.
I signed into the podcast. I'm not getting a vaccine. She's getting a vaccine.
She's getting a vaccine, so she's protected.
Why did you almost get it?
I didn't almost get it. It was more of just like, I'm going to go there and I'm going to see if it's possible.
They're going to say no to you.
Yeah. No, it's like, it's not possible. It's like you have to have an appointment. You have to have proof. I'm like, oh, they are checking. Damn.
That's weird. Wait, so here's the question. If it's just the two of you in the car, why are you wearing one? Why are you both wearing masks?
Because everyone else is wearing masks today. People coming up to
keep
our
coming
window.
up to the window.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Where are you doing it? Like,
I'm not going to say on the air.
Well, I guess you're right. My parents did it at King Supers. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, it's like a public health place.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got to go.
Joseph Jammer Medina, our man on the street, checking in, see how the COVID vaccines are going. Bye. Apparently, they're checking for IDs. Stay safe out there, Jammer. See, we got a show to do. Apparently, it's just me and Nick for a while.
Like the old days.
That was Jammer. Just like the old days. Just like in the beginning. In the years of what was that? Like it was 2 years ago at this point?
It will be March 2019, right?
Oh
so 2-year anniversary will be Captain Marvel weekend.
Oh my God. That's so crazy.
We should do something special this time. You weren't here for it last time. And
I did miss it the last time. I missed the 1 anniversary.
I don't think we did anything for it. Tanya and I were just like,
What?
I think I already passed or something. Or maybe I was going to do a clip show, but I'm like, I'm not going to listen to every fucking episode.
What is a 2-year anniversary gift? What are you supposed to get?
I just took down my Captain Marvel poster last week. Otherwise, I could turn around and look at it.
No. I mean, like, like when you're married. And
is it paper or some shit?
Wood. Yeah, I don't know because I'm bad at this kind of stuff. Like, is it China? Was this supposed to get to China last year? I don't know. China. Is it pearls? That would fit the theme of the show, and then have to murder you and take them off.
Exactly. That's why I brought up pearls.
That could be Jones Chill. I think I'm liking this. I think it's just gonna be pearls. I can't find it, and I'm just gonna. If somebody out there knows what the
is there anything for just like 1 or 2 years? Because it's not like you earned a lot.
I know
there is because my friends do it, but.
The problem is you go on the internet and you're like, hey, what's the gift for this? And people are like, these are the things that you can get. And it's like, no. I'm asking like very specifically, what is the gift? And no one wants to give up the deets.
It's a Blu-ray
whatever
of the wrong region of Detective Chinatown 2.
Is it something? Is it cotton? I don't know.
Oh God.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy that Jammer's not going to be on the show today. He was super dedicated. He bought the movie that he hasn't watched to review for the podcast.
When it's free.
So, when it's free. When it's free on Amazon Prime. That's right. So
it's worth $2.
That's a super fan right there.
Well, we'll get to it. I think it's worth $2.
Is it worth $2? I think it's worth $2.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say this. I think it's cotton, which, I feel like me as a black man, I'm not going to give you anything cotton. I have feels about that.
That's what I was thinking. Like, ooh,
yeah,
cotton's,
no, we're gonna skip over this anniversary. Let's see. I'll get you pearls. How about that? We'll stick with pearls. Pearls. So we got a ton of news. What's going on with you though? What's going on in Nick's world?
It's my birthday tomorrow.
Is it really?
When this airs, it's my
tomorrow.
birthday. I'm gonna be 33.
It's my birthday.
Yeah.
You gotta do the Thor Ragnarok. It's my birthday. The Jeff Goldblum.
I don't remember that part.
You don't remember that? So they were in his jet, like towards the end. They'd stolen his jet / yacht.
Oh yeah, his little video.
They pushed the wrong button. Yeah, it comes. It's my birthday.
I love you.
Yeah.
Too
So
cold.
you gotta do that. It's too cold. What's the weather over there?
We got like 12 inches of snow last night.
Jesus Christ!
This is
It's
Colorado though.
Oh, okay. It's beautiful and sunny here. It's like in the low 60s.
Halfway across the world. We're all the way.
It's halfway across the world in Germany. Halfway across the world.
I don't know. It's not China. I always just say you
not
dig
China.
through Earth and you end up in China.
They lied to me.
You're like, I'm gonna try that.
Lied to me. Bugs Bunny, you lying son of a bitch. It's not true. It's not true at all. Let's see. So we got some news topics to talk about.
There's only two of
A lot of. Well, is it a lot? Is it? It's some. It's enough. It's a lot. I don't know. It's a few.
It's a good smattering.
We have some big news. Let's put it that way. And sometimes less is more, especially when it's big. One of the news stories that came out this week, it was going to be the title of the Spider-Man movie. And did we know ahead of time that this was going to be a thing? Were we expecting this?
No, like
okay.
Daniel Richmond or whoever was like teasing a big Spider-Man film.
Okay.
Also insisting we'd have a trailer by now.
Okay.
So the trailer
All
was
right.
following the day of the titles. Actually, would that be today?
It would
Supposed to be like 6 a.m. or some shit. I don't know why they always like say trailer coming at 3 a.m. And it's like not getting up early to watch a movie.
Yeah, I mean, at the point where Disney owns Good Morning America, it's always going to be in Good Morning America.
Yeah.
So, but we got teased 3 different titles: Spider-Man Phone Home, Spider-Man Homewrecker, and Spider-Man Home Slice. And all of those turned out to be false. So those were all teased by
Or
the
all
3
they
stars.
different dimensions.
All different
Titles.
dimensions.
Someone
They will probably
proposed
do
that. They're like, don't you?
It wouldn't surprise me.
It's like, don't you see why they're doing different colors for each title and different titles? It's like it's proving it's dimension hopping. Someone's like that. It's like, okay, maybe.
Somewhat. I mean, here's the thing about Marvel movies. It gets to the point where you're looking for the catch everywhere. Like, what's the Easter egg? What's the catch? And so for this one, I saw someone line them up in such a way and then post a picture of the Green Goblin next to it. And they're like, see, it's going to be the Green Goblin's going to be in the movie. Like, I mean, but the colors together was like green and purple and something else.
People
like
thought when they
goldish or
saw
whatever.
green, it proved Mysterio. And then someone else posted like a picture of like Scorpion and Green Goblin and like
I don't know.
Vulture.
I don't know.
Ooh, a check-in.
All I know is we got check-in. We got another check-in. Jammer's coming back as we talk about the Spider-Man trailer, or the
Titles.
Spider-Man news.
A trailer.
I
your mask
thought it
is
was kind of
gone.
interesting. Oh, he's maskless. Now we care who you are.
Oh, the sunglasses.
Anyway, so we got the vaccine. We're good, but I'm down to basically because we have to wait 15
Wait, did you get it? Did you get it?
I
Did you
didn't get it.
bogart your way? Oh, you didn't get it.
I did not get it. No,
Okay, it was the royal we.
it was I guess it's
Oh, when you're
royal.
married. Yeah.
Yeah, she
We
got the
got it.
vaccine.
Kind of like you having vaccine.
Yeah, so we're just kind of waiting for reactions to happen, and if it doesn't happen, then we're gonna go. But I figured I could jump in and podcast while
Your wife
I'm
might
waiting.
be dying.
She's not dying.
I could be dying.
Yeah.
My mom got a late reaction. That's rare. It's like 1% of people get it. Or what? Yeah. It
What
just
was
like
it,
turns
deltoid
red
thing?
a week after and
Ooh.
hurts a little bit.
That's okay. That's like mild.
It's a 1 in 100 and it's not, and it's
she
super
fucking
mild. Yeah.
died. And you're like, oh no, it was a little red.
No,
That's
no. When my mom posted that, I'm like, I jokingly said, don't be an anti-vaxxer.
Listen, we have company on the podcast. You guys cannot argue like this over petty stuff. We have guests in the room. You can't do this.
Do we? Who we have guests? Who? It's just me. Oh, it's Kirsten. Oh, she doesn't count.
Did you almost call her your sister?
No,
And that's
no,
how the fight starts.
no.
Who?
You know
Who
what,
said-
actually-
oh, right, my wife.
The royal we.
So Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. We're talking about the lengths to which Marvel fans will go through to like prove some sort of nexus or prove the Easter egg. So somebody lined up all of the titles for the fake titles, and they have a color scheme similar to Green Goblin, and they were like, haha, aha, Green Goblin, baby.
Because we were talking about, there is a theory online that, again, I think it ties into his looking into stuff too much, which I think Wanda Vision trained us on even harder core than we were before. Okay, TV show format.
This existed before WandaVision, though.
But now it's like gotten to now that we're getting content every week and it's a mystery series. I feel like now we're looking into other trailers even more hardcore. Because what the theory online was, it's like 3 different titles before the real one because it's a multiverse.
And I've heard. I also heard not rumors. I've heard theories. People saying like it's going to be like 3 main characters. We're going to have Ned as a main character. We're going to have Zendaya as main character. We're going to have Peter Parker as main character, and they're each going to exist in different multiverses. And then they're going to somehow. I'm like, okay, you guys are crazy.
I don't know if you know this, but Zendaya is not a character. She's an actual person.
Okay, well, her name MJ. Sorry, MJ Michelle. She's now.
I was trying to remember her original name.
Yeah, Michelle.
I don't remember anymore. I think it's kind of cool. What I do like about the actual title, which I don't even think we've said yet, No Way Home is the actual title
of
the Spider-Man film. But yeah, hopefully. You're listening to here for entertainment value, not like speedy news. So what I like about it is that, and somebody in the Discord said it, I'm going to find his name before I say a thing that he also said, but I 100% agree with. It was, it has a double meaning to it, right? So No Way Home, there's the multiverse element that you guys have talked about, but there's also the stinger from the last movie where
he's on the run.
He's on the run, can't go home. And I really like that. I like that idea. I think it's cute. As someone who hasn't been enthralled, well, so that's my feeling about these movies. I'm not particularly enthralled with the Spider-Man movies. And so this is as good as it gets. So Zeb McCahan. Ooh,
wow.
Try that. Call him Zeb. Zeb.
I'm good with names. I can try it.
Said
Giancarlo Esposito.
Giancarlo Esposito.
He said, well, at least the title opens up some interesting questions. The title of the 2 previous movies both had double meanings. So, yeah, Zeb, thanks for pointing that out. That is, it's true.
What was the double meaning in the second one? And the first one? What were the double meanings? Oh, actually,
the Homecoming. And
Homecoming, like he was coming back to the MCU, and then also Homecoming was part of the movie.
And also, like, coming back home from what's it called? I
said coming to the MCU.
Germany. No, Germany.
The second one.
The first one. No, the first one. He came home from Germany. It was after he had gone and fought with the Avengers and then came back.
Oh,
and then
true.
So it had a triple meaning then.
Yeah.
What's Far From Home's other meaning?
Yeah, I don't know about Far From Home. He's far from his home.
He was far from home. Also far from his comfort zone in terms of what it meant to be a hero. I don't fucking know. That one feels like a stretch. I don't know.
That is
so like you're making that face, and that's the face that, like, I was closing my eyes and trying to figure it out. Somebody knows. Somebody out there knows. But I'm excited for it only because, and the funny thing is, as this becomes less and less of a Tom Holland movie, I get more and more excited for the film because it feels like we're actually kind of getting this weird MCU multiverse trilogy with WandaVision, Doctor Strange, and this film, if all the rumors turn out to be true.
People are already calling it the best trilogy. Someone tweeted like, "Oh, this is gonna be the best trilogy," or like they already called it best trilogy ever. I'm like, WandaVision isn't over yet.
Yeah, we got to finish one thing first before we.
Well, how about Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Justice League? Zack Snyder's Justice League. That's obviously the best trilogy.
Did you see the trailer for Army of Darkness? The 2 films it chooses to list are Man of Steel and the more obvious one, the zombie one he did.
Oh,
Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead.
It doesn't say Batman v Superman. It says Man of Steel.
I'm surprised it didn't say Sucker Punch.
I like Sucker Punch. I'm weird.
Yeah, I was gonna say you are. Like you like all the bad things. So there's the Nick Dahl bump, and then there's the Jammer. What the fuck? Like, how could you possibly like that movie?
I just thought it was interesting thematically. And I also like the intro was like, I like how he tries the best that he can to sort of tell things completely visually that takes advantage of the medium fully. in ways that a lot of other filmmakers don't.
That was the best part of the movie, though.
Too bad he's like only doing too bad that is the best he can do. You know, he's trying the best he can, but
wow, you're so mean.
I don't like Zack Snyder.
It's like, oh, it's a shame that that's the best he can do. I mean, dude's made, hundreds of millions of dollars, so it's like
you can make money and be talentless. We've seen that with a lot of no, you cannot. You cannot be talentless. You can maybe not have talent in the ways that you want or you value, but you have to have some talent in some way, be it in networking, be it in logistics, be it in whatever. It's not about not necessarily. I reject that. If you've made money from filmmaking in one way or another, you have some kind of talent, in my opinion. So I have talent.
Yeah. Have you made money?
Is that where this is going? We're trying to get back to making Nick.
Wait, where did you make money off of making a movie?
The script I sold, the short script. They're filming it right now. I'm getting paid $100 to act in it tonight. If the snow isn't too much.
There you go. So yeah, you got talent.
See, that breaks down your rule because I am talentless.
That does not break down my rule. All right. Well, how about this? You haven't made hundreds of millions of dollars. So there you go.
He still has time.
It's true.
Yeah, I got time.
True.
Those commercials for drugs show people not like getting the career in like the 60s, where it's like, don't worry, you still have time to live. Like, I don't know, like medication commercials where it's like, you can get started late in life.
What are you talking about?
I'm probably
what's happening?
I don't know.
I think he watches too much daytime TV.
No, I watch too much reality television on Hulu, and it curates the ads to people who watch.
Yeah, before I was totally gonna Ken Watanabe this and let you all fight, let them fight. But
and I also watch like shit like Clarice, where it's like CBS show. Here's like ads for depression.
Is that out yet? Clarice?
Yeah, I watched the
first two episodes. Is it good?
It's super procedural. Yeah, like Hannibal. If you ever watched Hannibal, it felt like a Showtime show, even though it was NBC. This feels like a CBS show. You got like Cal Penn is like one of the people, like, there's all the different people with different personalities who are in the FBI. It's like Vilma of the Week. No serial
So is this a prequel? Yet. Is this concurrent?
No, it's not. I thought it was a prequel.
Where is it?
It's like it takes place in 1993, which would be 2 years after Silence of the Lambs.
Okay. So
it's also a period piece, which is interesting. It is interesting enough that I will watch the third episode. It's just it's a show from my mom, not a show for me. I told her, like, this is your version of Hannibal. You should watch this. She's scared to watch Silence of the Lambs. You can still watch this.
Watch the sanitized CBS version.
Exactly.
All right, Mom. All right. Okay. You guys have anything else to say, or anything to say about the Spider-Man trailer? I keep saying trailer. Title. It's just the
title reveal. I mean, the thing about the title I thought was cool. If you looked at the whiteboard, I don't know if you guys talked about this, behind them had like all the different names. There was like phone home, and it was just like copyright issue ? And there was like work from home, and someone was like, no, in all caps. I think there was some deep, COVID feelings in some of those.
There were
the only ones we talked about were the ones that Zendaya, Tom Holland, and Jacob. Yeah.
Because there was one of the ones is a hexagon, but it's like, and people are like a hexagon, but it's like it's what benzene looks like, and people are like benzene, Uncle Ben, and you're like, yeah, there are fun Easter eggs, and I'm sure that's a stupid Easter egg someone thought of, putting a benzene. But
you think that they made this whiteboard fully thinking about the Charlie Day meme?
No, I think
that's what people show. I've seen that meme applied to this.
They would have made it look more like it if
like sticky notes and shit. And
like cork boards and stuff. I think it would have done more of that if it was going for that.
What someone did notice is when it flashes to the logo from the whiteboard, it looks like the Spider-Verse logo flashing. And I was like, that seems like a stretch too, but it actually does look like that because it flashes several different colors before just flashing to the logo.
I think that confirms it. It's animated. The next one's going to be animated.
Slow it down 1 frame per second.
I didn't do that. I just it looks like multiple colors. On to the next thing.
I mean, they could totally do that though, right? Like you could have a universe where when you enter the universe, you're animated. So
that's what I want from Spider-Verse, is have a non-animated character in it.
That'd be fun.
Like literally have Tom Holland, not animated Tom Holland, but Tom Holland or Tobey Maguire or someone.
I heard a rumor, and I don't know if this is true, that they were actually trying to get him for the Spider-Verse.
They want him for the first one. I assume it would have just been a voice.
Yeah. Yep.
I think it would have been a live action in Spider-Verse.
You think so?
No, that was just me being a dick to Nick.
No.
Because why would it be anything other than a voice, Nick? Come on.
Because they should go there next.
Okay.
And they should do
totally
black and white
cool world
animation.
it. Oh, that's you gonna say cool world it.
Says the person who is admitted to hating animation or to not understanding animation.
I didn't say. Well, I did sort of say
Being
that. Spider-Verse is
holier
the
than
exception. And I'm
You just said
excited
that
for
you-
Tom and Jerry.
You literally just said, yeah, they should do that next. They should transfer it to live action. And you said Spider-Man's the exception. Which one is it, Nick?
Wait, last week I didn't say that. I just said I hate animation.
I don't remember you saying hate it. I just remember you saying that you don't understand or really get animation.
I don't think I even said that. Oh, maybe I did say that as a nice way for I don't watch it.
Yeah, or I think I don't watch it is probably clear. It's probably the most accurate. Well, I'm gonna head out now. So it looks like we're hitting the 15-minute mark. And so it looks like there's no adverse effects. She's still alive. She's still on her phone. And yeah, so the next time I see you, I will be at my normal setup.
Sweet.
All right. Looking forward to
See you in
it.
a bit. Bye.
Drive safe.
All right.
He's gonna miss the next story, which is Supergirl. So we're gonna move on from a Spider-Man to a Supergirl. So Sasha Calle has been announced as Supergirl. She will be playing Supergirl in the DC. They haven't
The non-Snyderverse. Because
Yeah,
they started
I was
calling the
gonna
other part
call
the
it-
Snyderverse.
Okay.
This is what I read this week. They didn't like even Birds of Prey is in the Snyderverse because it's his Gotham. I'm like, that is not Zack Snyder's Gotham.
I mean,
It's his Harley
is
Quinn, but
in the
the
sense that
Suicide Squad
she's-
isn't in the Snyderverse
how isn't it though?
because it's them going off in a different direction. Just like Wonder Woman isn't in the Snyderverse or Aquaman, even though
I don't know if I think that. So all those movies are connected, and so I don't know what it means to say this is the Snyderverse versus not the Snyderverse.
Me neither. I'm just tired of hearing Snyder thrown in front of anything, including
I
verse. When I saw them calling it Snyderverse, I'm like, no.
I don't know. It's the DC Cinematic Universe, or what do you want to call it? The thing that they said that it wasn't, but haven't told people not to
Worlds
call
of
it that
DC,
anymore.
DC movies. They'll call them DC
Whatever.
movies. Post.
Sure.
But
But Sasha Calle, star on The Young and the Restless, has been announced. She's going to be playing Supergirl in The Flash, which is slated to come out in November of next year. Her casting for me actually was made that much cooler when I saw Boss Logic's interpretation of her outfit, which kind of looked like Captain Marvel's, but better, because the cape was not like a standard Superman / Supergirl cape. It was sort of like a sash / cape that started at the back of her waist. Did you see this?
yeah, I mean, it's Boss Logic, not the official, but
right. No. Yeah. I'm just saying like the possibility of it, right? The idea that they could really go in a different direction, because generally Supergirl is blonde and also like, so he kept her dark hair and all this other stuff, and it looked cool. I really liked it in that way.
Yeah, I hope to God they're not gonna make her blonde. You don't hire a Latina actress to just be like, okay, now we're gonna make you look white as hell.
I don't know. So not necessarily Latina, but I think we all remember Chris Hemsworth's blonde eyebrows.
Oh yeah,
from Thor. So I agree with you. However, we've seen it before.
Feige still say that's one of the worst mistakes they've made on
Yes,
any
he
movie.
does.
Not even talking the quality.
And I'm
of
going to
some
bring it
other
up until the day I die.
Yeah.
Like it's weird. I can't imagine like being on a movie set and seeing that and be like, we're just going to scrap the whole first day of shooting and we're going to come back to this. Yeah, we're going to fix those bad boys.
We'll do no headshots on the first day. I'll just like hands holding hammers.
Just wear a hat, something like
Focus
that.
on Loki. Yeah.
So yeah, I think the other part of this is it's weird because I think the thing that makes me excited about this is the same thing that makes me excited about the Spider-Man movies. Like the less Flash I hear about, the more excited I am. So in this movie, now we're getting Supergirl, Ben Affleck's Batman, Michael Keaton's Batman, and also Flash. And I'm curious whether or not this version of Supergirl will be taking over, standing in for the cyborg role, since Ray Fisher is kind of on the outs with DC right now. What do you think?
A comparable character as far as age and stuff. But that's an interesting point. It's like their Civil War script when they're like, shit, we don't know if we're getting Spider-Man. Let's make sure to add in Black Panther. And then it's like, oh, now we got Spider-Man.
Got it.
because you had to add a different character to serve the same purpose. That's a good. I mean, their power set's obviously different, and I assume she's from a different Earth.
I don't know. So I'm curious. I don't remember. It's been so long at this point that I don't know. There were conversations back. Man of Steel came out in 15?
No, 2016 was Batman v Superman. There was a decent sized gap.
13? God. Anyway,
Maybe.
it's been a while. And I remember the conversation that was being had at the time was that one of the pods in the Kryptonian ship was hers.
I think the conversation was had more recently. That's one of the crazy things.
Was it?
I think it was once he got a Vero. I think that was one of the things Snyder said early on. Where just fans are asking stuff, and he's like, "Yes."
Okay.
I think he confirmed it. I don't know, which wouldn't insinuate the opposite of like the actual Supergirl storyline. Because normally he shows up first, so he's older, even though she was older on Krypton.
Yeah. So you still think? Okay, so you said multiverse. Could it be multiverse or another timeline, or what is it? Well, let me ask you this before I ask you that question. And I'm still slightly confused about this, and maybe no one knows until it comes out. Michael Keaton will come from another timeline?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think that this could be a Supergirl from another timeline?
We're talking about Earths, right? Yeah, universes.
Different Earths. Okay.
Yeah. That's what my guess is, just because it explains. I don't know, because that's what Flash is all about. And I know she could still be Hispanic and be Henry Cavill's cousin, through some kind of. Technically they're not, because they're aliens.
I was going to say they're not from Earth, so that you could make up whatever you wanted. Like, yeah, this is my sister.
I think it'd be more interesting if it's part of the time travel, and then definitely bring her along into the timeline. I bet Affleck gets lost in it. I'm assuming Affleck, like putting Batman into Justice League Dark, is like there with the Flash trying to help him. He gets sucked in, and by the time they come back, they have Tim Burton. Keaton instead of him. Hell, maybe Ben Affleck dies in like a fantastic like Batman sacrifice that you couldn't do anywhere else, because DC would be like, you can't kill Batman. If I was Affleck, that would bring me back for the role. It's like I get to die as Batman.
You know what I'm envisioning in my head is like an Endgame scene where they were sending Ant-Man through time, and at one point he was young, and another part he was old. So what if they do that with Ben Affleck, and then he just comes back as Michael Keaton? And he's like, I pissed my suit, and I don't know if it was Ben Affleck or if it was me. So I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know anything about the actress. Like I've never heard her name before, but I love the video.
You're not watching Young and Restless? How are you not watching Young and Restless?
Is that where she's from? Nice.
What's wrong with you? Yeah.
But I love the video where the director, whose name I dare not even try to. Andy Machete.
Yep.
Who, of course, I recognize from all the special features from the It Blu-rays. Because I recognize, like, immediately he's one of the most people couldn't recognize that actor. I was like, hey, it's Andy, however you pronounce his name, like from It. And I love that video where he's like, can you fly? She's like, no, would you like me to? He's like, you can fly in my movie. It feels contrived, but it's also really cool. Because he's just the actor. That director's always like that in all the special features. He's just like chilling. He's like, can you fly?
Yeah, he seems super low energy.
This movie, it worked out for at least directing kids, I feel like.
Yeah, it worked for the first It. I don't know about the second.
The only reason the second It didn't work is it's the first movie and the second movie combined. And it's like, why am I watching them get scared as kids and adults again?
God.
It's the problem with splitting that book that way. It's just the second movie has to be repetitive as fuck. Because it has to be them remembering their fears that we just saw 2 years ago.
Just saw this. Yeah. I don't know. Who
yeah,
knows?
That's cool. And I also, as far as more diversity, it's Blue Beetle with the Hispanic lead, which will be the first Latino lead for Marvel or DC to solo their own movie.
That's cool. I'm curious. So they're just in the beginning stages of that, right?
They got a director, I think.
Okay.
I think they already have it must be a writer-director if they already have a director.
Is it going to be connected to these movies?
No one knows about any of these movies anymore. I'm assuming the Flash will still be used as a mini Flashpoint. Getting Ben Affleck out, getting away from the Snyderverse, and letting them keep the actors they like.
Okay. It's a good way to reset.
Yeah. That's the perfect, that's your out. It's built into your universe's storyline. It's like one of the most famous stories from like the last 20 years is like, oh, it's the one that lets us reset everything if we want. Like even forget their memories of the Snyderverse and just be Wonder Woman and Aquaman. Just don't reference it. And I think it's a clean break eventually. People just forget.
They won't forget.
But if anything, the Snyder Justice League is going to do what Dark Knight Rises did and kind of put off them being able to get rid of the old taste. Like that's why they started with Man of Steel rather than starting with giving Batman a solo movies, because Batman was already being made when they started the new DCEU.
Yeah. And I think I remember at the time they were trying to say that they wanted to give Christian Bale like a dump truck of money just to come back and continue on in that role. So, but we'll see. I'm still kind of on the fence about this Flash movie, mostly because the person who wrote Bumblebee and Birds of Prey is going to be doing this, and there are elements of both that I like and elements that I don't. So we'll see what happens.
I haven't seen Bumblebee, but I do like Birds of Prey. That's the DC element. So Birds of Prey is still my favorite from like their little current endeavor.
Really?
Anything that came after Rises. Yeah. I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it felt original and fresh considering every other movie is dark as shit, even the first Wonder Woman. And Shazam just was kind of like kiddie, so it didn't really do it for me. And I was like, this one feels like, I hated Suicide Squad partially because I thought Harley Quinn was screwed up. And Birds of Prey showed me the exact Harley Quinn that I liked.
That you wanted.
Yeah, from the comics, and pretty close to the TV show as well, which is less canon than anything else.
And I think of those two movies, the only thing that I really didn't like was Transformers seemed a little, the thing that I didn't like about it was all the stuff around it, not necessarily the actual movie itself, because Hasbro and Paramount were not very clear about where this movie fits with the other movies. Is it a break from the previous films or is it its own thing? And I think at some point they did clarify, but at the time I was just kind of struggling to figure out where it fit. So is it a Michael Bay movie or not connected to them?
I do want to watch that just as much as I want to watch Sonic, which I started last night. I don't know where I ended because
you should check it out.
I was drunk by that point. I watched 4 movies in the last 2 nights. I remember the other 3. So go me.
Okay. Jumping back into the MCU, so we now know that Blade will not be rated R. So after getting 3 Wesley Snipes films that were rated R, actually, was Blade Trinity rated R? It had to have been.
I think they were. I haven't actually seen any of them. Bad.
I can't remember based on the violence, but I do remember all of the F-bombs from Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, I was gonna say all that's so weird. Like that's the thing. That's the thing that makes me think that. So now it looks like the film that's coming probably, I think, October of next year. This one's gonna be with 2-time Oscar winner Mahershala Ali.
Great casting that we've known about.
Yeah, it's gonna be really good casting. But it will be a PG-13 movie. And I'm curious for you, does that change anything for you? Do you care? Like, how do you feel about that?
Well, some characters do lend themselves better to R, like the Wolverine, the R-rated cut, and Wolverine and Logan are my 2 favorite movies with Hugh Jackman because of that. And, Deadpool obviously has a rated R because he's not making funny jokes. But I watched an interesting, essay by this. I remembered his name. You probably know who he is too. He does a lot of essays about why Mission Impossible is my favorite film, and he goes deep dives into stuff. His video was is basically criticizing it, where he's like, your movie doesn't need to be R. These don't all need to be gritty. It's almost taking away from the source material. It's like you're turning these things mostly for kids. There are some rated R comics. And you're turning them into something that the kids can't watch because you're saying, I grew up with these and I deserve to have them R-rated even when it's not necessary. So it feels like Blade would be a necessary character. Yeah, I'm sure Feige can make a super enjoyable Blade movie by avoiding, basically all you need to avoid is nudity and too much blood. You can do anything you want as long as there's not blood splattering the screen or tits or dick. But
I feel like the blood is the fun part though.
Yeah, but again, Morbius is gonna be PG-13. I know that's a different vampire movie from Sony, but
different vampire.
I've seen lots of Van Helsing. I'm sure was PG-13. The problem with that wasn't the lack of blood. What?
It's not a good movie.
Yeah, but the problem with that was not doing a vampire movie without blood. It was other issues.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know. I'd rather see it rated R, but based watching that essay, I'm like, well, not. Sometimes they're doing them just to be rated R, and that's not a good thing either. So
yeah,
like the Snyder cut. He's like, now Batman can say fuck, and it's like, oh boy, that's what I always wanted to see. Batman's old enough to curse now. That's great. That does add to the story when Batman says fuck.
Man, you are super dour on Snyder right now. Like, and
I wouldn't even see the movie at this point if it weren't for this podcast and my friend. Like, I don't even care anymore. It's 4 hours. No.
Yeah, I'm kind of at the point where like it's happening, but
send me the Joker cut, or just give me the time that the Joker shows up on screen, and I'll skip to it just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I wish there was. I do kind of agree with you in that sense. Like, just let me skip to the parts that I like.
Which I mean, we can do.
I'm sorry, not the parts that I like. The parts that I haven't seen yet.
It's HBO Max. You can fast forward when something looks too familiar.
Yeah, but then I have to like actually pay attention. So what you're saying is, what I have to do is like wait 3 days, and someone will have done this already. Just go on Reddit, find a thread where somebody's like, here, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Yeah. I'm sure someone will do that, and I might. Okay.
I won't. We were doing it for the podcast, but my friend really wants to watch it with me.
Okay.
So we'll have to watch that for 4 hours, and we also watch the Avengers show. So that Saturday we'll be watching a 4-hour movie and an hour of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, as long as the credits aren't 15 minutes long.
Jesus, it's a long day.
At least the second part will be good.
Okay. You ready to move on?
How do we even get on Snyder again?
We were talking about Blade, and then you just veered off into
What
Snyder
do you feel
land.
about Blade?
You
seem.
I like the first ones.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think it's more necessary? I think the thing that makes it hard is I lack imagination. And so having seen the first 3 movies and enjoyed the first 2 a lot, it's hard to imagine coming down from it, because the violence that Guillermo del Toro and Stephen Norrington injected into those movies was so much a part of those films in a good way, and in a way that is not necessarily, I think that's hard to do. So yeah, part of what I enjoy about those movies is the story. It's Wesley Snipes and Whistler and all those guys, but it's also like the fights, and the fights were like necessarily violent. So
yeah, so I guess I care less just because I haven't seen those movies. Maybe is the difference.
Oh, you haven't seen the first 2 Blade movies?
No, I need to.
Holy shit! Yeah, you need to do that.
Especially Del Toro's.
Yes, I am one of those people. I'm torn. I think I like the second one more, only because I really like Donnie Yen and Ron Perlman and those guys and what they brought to the film. The first one's still good, but there's something about the second one just because I like those guys and seeing what they did alongside Wesley Snipes. Like Wesley Snipes and Ron Perlman hated each other. Like their characters, they might have hated each other. I don't know. But their characters really disliked each other, and I enjoyed watching them like juxtapose one another. So I highly recommend those. That should be your weekend. Blade 1 and 2. Cool. Maybe not 3. Maybe not 3. Threes are hard. Threes are hard.
Threes are very hard.
Difficult. Ready to talk some Paramount?
Yeah.
All right.
Plus.
So Paramount Plus. So I'm going to use this word again. Juxtaposed to HBO Max's day-and-day release of films coming to their streaming service, as well as movie theaters, Paramount Plus is taking a different route. So their flagship tentpole films that were coming out this summer, Mission Impossible 7 and A Quiet Place 2, will release 45 days on Paramount Plus after they've been released theatrically.
I'm just looking at wrong. I read that the first time, and I reread it somewhere else, and I thought they said 30 days, but it'll still have a 45-day window. Doesn't make much sense, so it's probably 45. Why would you keep it in theaters?
Because maybe there are some people that value the theater experience and want to go out. So I could see him double dipping.
Yeah, then you might be right. I think the Mission Impossible is the fall. Is Top Gun still this summer? I know they've mentioned Maverick, they mentioned A Quiet Place 2, and they mentioned Mission Impossible 7.
I don't know. The only 2 that I know of are those 2. So I don't know. Let's see.
It is definitely an interesting, different perspective.
It is.
Like everyone has their own thing right now, it seems.
I haven't seen what the creatives are saying about it. So, with the HBO Max / Warner Brothers move, creatives like Christopher Nolan and a few other people were famously upset about this move. Patty Jenkins was probably the only one that seemed like, this is good. And, having seen Wonder Woman 1984, I might understand why. With this,
guaranteed money, sure.
Yeah. With this, I not seeing what the creatives are saying, but seeing just what people seem to be saying on Twitter. Everyone seems to have a positive reaction to this, which kind of blows my mind. As the consumer, I don't want this. Like, I would like to be able to sit at home and watch it as opposed to having to go to a movie theater. And I don't understand why people are praising the movie as though with HBO's move, they can't go to the theater and watch it. Like, why do you they're not maligning people who want to stay home and watch movies, but there definitely seems to be a pushback against that from people who shouldn't really have any interest in it.
Well, what's interesting about Paramount making this move is it's coming towards the end, as we assume, of the pandemic. Like, I believe Mission Impossible 7 is November. So they're assuming even then people would rather wait 45 days to see it, to be fair, for free at home. And that's almost what it attacks more, is the home video market. It's like, how many people are going to Vudu purchase or Blu-ray purchase, besides me, Mission Impossible 7, when it comes out for free on their service within the launch, like the Blu-ray launch.
$5 for.
Yeah. But I think that's the main reason they're doing it. Isn't for audiences protection. It's for
bolster the streaming service.
Yeah, go to our streaming service. Instead of buying the Blu-ray for Mission Impossible, buy a month of Paramount Plus and boom.
And so in that, what you're describing sounds like them splitting the baby between HBO / Warner Brothers approach and pissing off the creative folks. They're like, hey, we need to bolster our brand new service, but we don't want to piss off these people. Hey, Christopher Nolan, look at what we've done, right? Like, it's going to be in our streaming service, but you will have a month and a half to have a movie out there in theaters.
Do you think some of the studios are making decisions like this to court Christopher Nolan?
And people like him, yeah. Yep.
That's kind of a smart thing. That makes more sense why Paramount Plus would also do this, where it's like, yeah, you get your full theatrical run. We won't even touch it. Like, other studios are making deals about 17 days or whatever, and we're just going to guarantee you 45 days, man.
Yep. So yeah, that's the thing that makes sense to me, but we'll see what happens.
And Paramount seems to be doing the Disney route, or Disney seem, I think basically they confirmed Disney that they're spending more money on Disney Plus productions than they are in feature films at theaters now, including feature films for Disney Plus. Rumors suggest that Paramount's doing that as well. Like, if the Star Trek rumor is true about Star Trek 4 is being made for Paramount Plus. They want to make more Star Trek movies, including a Discovery film, but for Paramount Plus, and a Lower Decks film, but for Paramount Plus. Like,
you know what's funny about that? I remember a time when I was a kid where there were TV movies. And that is just, I don't want to say it's gone away, because obviously we have Netflix and all this other stuff, but like
Netflix
that
is TV
network,
movies,
right? Not like the NBC, TNT, like those type of network.
Disney Channel.
Right. Those completely dried up. And so this would be interesting if the streaming services kind of pick up the baton, even though, like you just pointed out, Netflix is basically that. But yeah, so that'll be interesting.
And Disney also stopped doing direct, like, home video sequels, which they used to do all the time, like Aladdin,
right?
Return of Jafar, Aladdin and the King of Thieves, anything else.
All the Aladdin movies.
Yeah.
Lion King 1.5. Was it 1.5?
And Lion King 2 and LionKing 3, I think. I don't remember how many of those there were, but yeah.
One of those was a half.
Yeah. Well, half one was just about Timon and Pumbaa, I think.
Okay. Got it.
I haven't seen it, and now it seems like, this is similar to that. Well, that's like, we'll spend more than one of our straight to video movies back in the day. Like, we'll spend $100 million on a Disney Plus film.
So I think it's interesting what you just said about a Star Trek movie coming to Paramount Plus, because I remember that the reason why Star Trek 4 fell apart was because they couldn't get Chris Pine and Chris Hemsworth in the same movie because of money. So if that's true, then what does that mean for this film?
Well, I don't think the rumor's been picked up by anyone since it came out, which is a shame. But I would assume you could actually do it now because Chris Pine is done with his DC contract, and he doesn't. Very few movies he's in that aren't franchises make any money. Like he does little movies like the one where he's a ship's captain for Disney or whatever, rescuing the bigger ship. And then Chris Hemsworth too, with the exception of Extraction, has not, which is a Netflix movie, not a theatrical release, has not had success outside of the MCU. He's proven himself again and again since Star Trek 4 was announced. Like, oh, here's like his Tom Clancy type movie. Oh, it made 10 million. Here's one where he's in Afghanistan on a horse. It's like, oh, he made 5 million. I mean, he can keep working with Marvel making money, but I don't know. I could also just see it being a fun project. Could come back to the role he did even before Thor that no one recognizes him in.
Yeah.
There's a rumor that I haven't seen anything since then. But I've seen other rumors pointing to Paramount taking a Disney approach and being like, we're going to spend more money on even feature films for that than we are theaters.
Okay. Yeah, I would definitely pay. So we already have CBS All Access, and I would probably be willing, because there are multiple tiers to their service. One is the entry level $4.99 that is ad supported, but then there is a $9.99 ad free version, and I'd pay for that just to get access to all that stuff. And not have
I
to
think even the lower one's going to have everything. It's just going to have commercials. Like you'll still have the same movies. I watch Hulu with commercials. My parents have even if you have CBS All Access, the price is you can. It's the only way. I assume it doesn't matter for you, but CBS local channels you can only get if you have CBS All Access. And they won't offer that anymore, and it costs $1 more. But if you already have it, you can keep it until you quit your subscription.
Right. And the thing that I haven't been missing is local channels on CBS. So like, if those vanished, I wouldn't care. TV stations and cared about them for 10 years. So that's not really that big of a deal to me.
It's a cool guy.
Jammer. It's a good thing you jumped in. We're talking about the shift in Paramount distribution of their films. So the 45 days after theatrical release. The point that I was talking about, and I'm curious what you think about this, was I think that they're splitting the baby with HBO Max. So HBO famously pissed off creatives. And I feel like this is Paramount's way of courting creatives by saying like, hey, listen, you're going to get a theatrical release. But also, this is their way of bolstering their own streaming service as well. So they get to do both.
Because they're not you don't need Vudu sales or Blu-ray sales if you're giving away Mission Impossible after 45 days, which would be the DVD window.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, I think you're 100% right. It's like it gives people what they want sooner, which is their movies, but it also gives a theatrical release, which, the filmmakers and the studios tend to want. So yeah, I think they get to look like the good guys because HBO Max kind of burned bridges.
And Universal has that shorter window, and they're guaranteeing this 45-day window because in the Universal have the 17-day deal coming up, where the 17 days.
I don't remember what Universal had. Was it 17?
They're allowed to release it VOD, I think. Yeah, it was 3 weekends.
Yeah, Universal did the thing where they announced that something was going to come straight to streaming, pissed off some theater chains, then they backed up, and then they said that there was going to be a window. And I think that might be what you're referring to, and I don't know how long that window is.
And they made that deal with AMC, but I think they made it with Cinemark or Regal by now also. So I think all the theater chains are getting in on that deal. NATO's the one that's against that, even more than filmmakers.
Wait, I'm sorry. The North Atlantic Trade Organization?
Yeah. No, the North American Theater Association. But NATO organization.
Okay.
No, it's an unfortunate coincidence.
Theater owners, that's it. Yeah.
I was very confused. I was like, why the fuck does Canada care?
The National Association of Theater Owners. That's what it stands for. I just worked in the movie theater industry, so we just called it NATO. We know what we were talking about.
Yeah, man. If you're in the business, you know what's going on.
That's right.
Like an ignorant person, you.
Not knowing what NATO is. Film business, yo. And it's like, technically we are an exhibition, but I don't think we're part of the industry, my friends who work in a movie theater in Colorado.
It's like when World Wrestling Entertainment lost WWF to the World Wildlife Fund. They're like, wait, what? Okay, I guess.
save those pandas.
Fuck those pandas.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember being like, "That's bullshit," but apparently that's a lawsuit that had been in the works for like 15 years before it finally went through, or something. So anyway, but yeah, I think it's a smart move on Paramount. The only thing about Paramount is that it's not like they have a lot of big franchises. They don't have that many of them, right? They have Transformers.
Yep. Quiet Place.
Transformers.
Now.
Mission Impossible. Well, they're basically in the Tom Cruise business. They got Maverick.
Yeah.
Jinx.
I like how you count like a Quiet Place as a franchise.
It's just half drinking.
There are two of them now. I mean, what do you need for a franchise?
I guess.
It's like how many pieces of child porn before you possess child porn? One. You just need one. So same thing.
That was the weirdest analogy. That basically that argument, one movie is a franchise.
But Star Trek, like, it doesn't make a lot of money, and they're making way more money on TV with it. But Star Trek's a long-lasting franchise that everyone knows the name of, and ebbs and flows as far as popularity.
Yeah, I mean, it ebbs and flows, but I feel like I don't think there's ever been a Star Trek thing where it's like that is a huge success.
Some TV shows.
I don't know if,
but not the movies. I would agree.
I don't even know. I mean, are the TV shows successful? I feel like they just make them because they're reliable at this point. Because it's like I don't even know how good they're doing.
Yeah, I think that they do well generally, but I think you're right. They aren't making them because they're making money hand over fist with Star Trek.
They gotta be making some money though. They're putting a lot of money into
They're not driving.
Yeah, because Picard and Discovery just look expensive as shit too. Like
they do. I mean, just because they're putting money into it doesn't mean that they're making money off it. I don't think they're making Mandalorian dollars. I think it's clear the drive the Mandalorian is made. Like the thing is, I don't think that's the thing is that you look at something like Mandalorian. Obviously, it's really unfair comparison because it's like one of the most successful TV shows ever, comparing to Star Trek. But the Mandalorian, it's like it had a very clear. Oh yeah, the numbers went up because of the Mandalorian. Like you could draw a perfectly straight line to that, which I don't think you can do for any of the Star Trek shows.
It would be interesting to look at The Good Fight, which was like the first original, and when Discovery season 1 came out.
I think that they probably went up, but I would make this argument. I don't think that you're wrong that Mandalorian did better numbers for Disney Plus, but I think that Disney Plus exists on a better value proposition and also a promise. And so the value proposition is all of the Marvel movies, all of the Star Wars movies, all of the cartoons that you watched as a kid. Like that is a huge value proposition. And then the promise of all of these Marvel shows and Star Wars shows. And that's not something that anybody else has built in.
It's true.
That's
Disney
hard.
is a powerful
That's hard
brand.
to compete with. Yeah, it's hard to compete with. So
it's so crazy to me how all of these studios exist. Disney is the only one that's like a brand. Paramount isn't a brand. Warner Brothers isn't a brand. I mean, it is, but is it? It's like what's a Paramount movie? Nothing. What's a Universal movie? It's nothing.
It's a Tom Cruise movie.
You know what
apparently.
A Disney movie is?
Indiana Jones, Godfather. Come on.
No, those are
Indiana
movies,
Jones is Disney.
It was
tell me,
Paramount. You still see that Paramount logo.
Oh, okay.
And the early MCU movies still have the Paramount logo because they were Paramount and Disney.
Yeah, or it wasn't Disney at the time. It was Paramount and Marvel Studios.
And Marvel Studios was their own thing, and Paramount released their films.
Yeah, exactly. They were distributors.
And Jones.
My point is that there's no branding associated with these studios that Disney has, and I think that goes a long way. And I feel like that's one of the big tragedies. I say tragedy in air quotes. Well, not air quotes. I'm exaggerating. Is the point of Netflix is that somehow Netflix has had like a 15 or 13 year head start in terms of creating content, right? Maybe like 9 year head start in terms of creating original content, and yet they still don't really have a brand identity, And I know
it changes. Tiger King, Stranger Things, whatever the
that's not really a brand identity.
That's what I'm talking about. They're all over the place.
Yeah,
they're Walmart.
All over the place. Yeah. No, Amazon is Walmart.
Yeah, especially with the cheap Prime selection.
Okay, so they're Target. So Netflix is Target.
Amazon is Fry's. Which, by the way,
I would never even go into Fry's though. So that's the thing.
It's a funked Radio Shack. Not even in business anymore.
So they're Walmart. So Target, Netflix is Target.
Okay, yeah. I'm done with this. So then, what is Disney in this analogy? What's like a top tier?
Disney, Apple.
Disney is
Disney's the Apple, even though there is Apple TV.
Okay, so there's a little bit of both in there. Apple can't even be Apple in the streaming
Apple's
world.
not big enough
Disney's
to be
Apple.
Apple's one of the smallest ones. Oh, I did read that. It's kind of. I don't think it's on our special docket, but CBS has finally reached the phase in their age of their streaming service that they're now canceling shows.
What's canceled?
Canceled.
I mean, they're also canceling themselves and going into Paramount Plus.
Yeah, but they're canceling shows that could have stuck with Paramount Plus. Like they canceled the Twilight Zone because of ratings.
It wasn't good.
I mean, it's hard. It's weird. It's hard to have
but...
ratings. Period. I watched the first 2 episodes. I thought it was fine.
Yeah,
it was fine. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It has to live up to a lot because that original series is so good.
It had such potential. Just Jordan Peele. I never watched it, so I'm part of the problem.
Here's the argument that I would make.
Because it's on CBS All Access. I don't CBS All Access, bro. But you guys do, and you guys still don't.
I do, and I don't watch it. And here's part of the reason why I don't watch it. And if Tanya was here, she would kind of whack her finger at me if we were in video. I watched the original Twilight Zone in its entirety because my son wanted to watch it. Like I've seen it before, and he was like, I want to watch Twilight Zone. He's 6. He was 6 at the time. He was between 5 and 6 at the time, and he's like, I want to watch Twilight Zone. And that's what we watched. We can't watch this new version of Twilight Zone together because it's more mature. It's more adult. And so because of that, I just don't watch it. And I don't imagine that is a widespread situation, but it's not abnormal.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's this philosophy, this idea that you could tell adult stories without having to drop F-bombs and stuff and have mature rating. Yeah, I guess in a way they were trying to, I guess, get rid of the limits, but they almost ended up limiting their audience. They ended up limiting their audience as a result. So, yeah. I mean, for me, it didn't appeal anymore. I think it appealed less because of the TV MA rating or whatever rating it had.
Yeah,
like it just seemed unnecessary.
Jonesy, if your kid cared, would you let him watch Discovery? It's pretty harmless, isn't it?
No, because they drop F-bombs in that. Like I very
they do get a curse in that.
Well, it's not even just a curse in that. There's a scene where Tilly says, fuck. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. And then Stamets is like, no, you're right. Fuck. And I'm like, what the fuck? And that was in the first season. And that was, I think before I was like, no, I can't. So like, I will let them watch Lower Decks, but I feel like Lower Decks is
somehow less sturdy.
Barely. And that's why I'm like, if you're listening to this, you can't tell. I'm like measuring out my finger. Like if there's a line, Lower Decks like gets real close to that line.
Lower Decks really is like Rick and Morty or Solar Opposites.
It's right on the other side. Rick and Morty is right on the other side of that line. And I have watched Rick and Morty with my kids and immediately regretted it.
Yeah.
But
it's funny. I feel like Rick and Morty is like clear on the other side. It's not just on the other side of that line. It's way on the other side of that line.
Well, you would think they would be that far apart, but they're really not.
Yeah.
By the way, Solar Opposites season 2 got announced.
No, I haven't seen Lower Decks. No.
Okay.
I don't have CBS All Access. I don't have CBS All Access, yo.
Paramount Plus when it comes out.
Keep forgetting. But yeah, I wouldn't. I don't let them watch Discovery, which sucks because they have watched Deep Space Nine with me and The Next Generation and Voyager because I'll flip through like what are my favorite episodes through those, and they recognize Star Trek. They're like, oh, that's Star Trek, and they want to watch more of it, but I won't let them, and so that's confusing.
Why are you being a bad father?
Show them the original series. I'll never want to watch Star Trek again.
I don't want to watch. Yeah, I don't want to watch the original series.
I love
it's
the
okay.
original series.
It's okay. I will watch the original series movies again and again and again and again.
Except for the first one. I've only seen the first one once because it's so boring.
That is accurate. Not the first one. So definitely I will watch 2, 3, 4, and 5 and 6, but not the first one. That's just too goddamn slow. But anyway. So yeah. Anything else to say about Paramount Plus and their theater moves?
I like their ads.
Their ads are great.
Yeah, it's are cute.
Especially in the Super Bowl where they progressed up the mountain.
Yeah, it's the thing when they progress up the mountain. That's the other thing. And I had like Dora leading them, Dora the Explorer, and have everyone arguing at the top and stuff. I think it's
Patrick Stewart up top, and then Stephen Colbert just making alcoholic beverages for everyone but Dora the Explorer. Here, Pike and Spock, have this Romulan ale.
I'm really curious about the new Star Trek show, Strange New Worlds.
I'm really excited for it because I don't know. I like the aesthetic of the old stuff. I love the uniforms. Like Pike was by far my favorite part of Discovery so far, even though I love the Discovery crew. This just feels so classic. Like, yeah, I mean, he was the original Kirk, but then I think, I watched the whole documentary. They got rid of the first episodes because they weren't action oriented enough, which is why in the Kirk pilot, he has to pummel the bad guy with his fists and stuff. That was like a studio note. This had to be an action show, which it really still isn't an action show.
I can imagine the studio going like, I want an action scene. They come back with that. They're like, that's it. That's the stuff.
Well, it's the same stuff as the gore. You search worst fight scene ever on YouTube. It's the Gorn fight still. It's exactly like that. It's Shatner like putting his fist together,
double fist,
hitting someone, and then like he falls backwards, and they're throwing like rocks at each other. They're obviously styrofoam and bounce. That's what I love original Trek.
You know what I love about that is I was watching Deep Space Nine this week, either this week or last week, and what you're talking about. So you did you did the double fist hand down movement, and in Deep Space Nine, even in the late '90s, they were like double fist coming down, beating up some people in the past.
They didn't do enough of that in the Abrams movies.
They didn't do any of that in the Abrams movies.
Exactly.
I bet they did. I think they did. I think
like trying to fight Kroll or someone, and Kroll's just like tossing him across the room. Like
so, I think there's that.
Smacking the microphone.
I think some of the fight happened when Spock went off on Kirk. In the first...
he did fight weird. The way he moved was really weird, but he could have gotten one of those in. Yeah, if I recall, maybe it's possible.
Yep.
So, yeah, I could see that.
Man, I think I'm gonna watch that movie now. I kind of like that movie.
Which one?
Star Trek?
The first one?
I think I'm gonna watch all of them.
I
do it.
I watched Into Darkness 2 weeks ago. I won't judge you.
I
like Into Darkness.
I like
Into Darkness a lot.
I'm not a fan.
As
long as I can separate my brain from being connected to Wrath of Khan, then I'm
Yes, you have to separate it
completely.
It's hard. It's really hard.
Just separate it.
Well, what I like about it is they reverse the yell, which like, God, it's the cheesiest thing they could do. But they immediately make you forget by it's like, oh God, the Enterprise almost collides with his ship. You're like, oh, I almost forgot that happened until I'm at home later thinking about the movie.
Nope. And that's the thing that will snap me back. Yeah, I'll forget, and then that scene will snap me back. Like, oh right, this is a carbon copy.
Wrath of Khan makes me cry more than the other Star Trek project.
It's pretty good.
Like 3 scenes where I weep in that film.
I need to watch that movie again. I saw so there's a tangent, and then we'll get off Star Trek Paramount Plus. I saw this guy. He wrote an article, and I should have brought it up as I was thinking about it. But he did this like beautiful breakdown of how Star Trek 6 was a wonderful send-off for the old crew, but it wasn't like laced in nostalgia. It was about them understanding like they didn't really fit into the new world. How the Klingons at the time were the analogy for the Cold War. And as we were moving past that period in history, like all that stuff had to stop. And so like these people were relics of the past. And I thought that it was a really, really great breakdown of a movie that I enjoyed when I was younger. And as an adult, I enjoyed. But when someone can put real world meaning and compare it to what's going on, with franchises and stuff like that now, because part of what he said was like, it's hard to imagine franchises letting characters go the way that they did with Star Trek 6 just as well, like purposefully letting them go off into the sunset.
Paramount's gone back on that, and it's like, okay, now we're doing a Picard show. It's kind of like the opposite of that. Where it's like, we gave a set, and I like Picard. I know you don't as much or at all. I
do not.
But it's like, I mean, he had a good send-off, but at the same time, I'm happy to see, like, that's the one my mom loves, and it's not because she's into Star. Well, she likes the JJ movies too, because she likes she likes that. I mean, she likes the genre, MCU, the Kelvin timeline, that joke to action ratio, and like fun characters. But she also, then Picard, she doesn't like Discovery, but she loves Picard because she likes Patrick Stewart, and like, it's basically his Logan sort of thing.
I mean, Logan's his Logan too.
Yeah, it's true. Well, that's really Logan's Logan.
That's true.
But I think I got a new homework assignment from Jonesy, and I'm gonna by the next.
Oh yeah, he hasn't seen the first 2 Blade movies. Did you know that?
Oh, I'll also take the other homework assignment and watch all the original movies from Star Trek, which I have on Blu-ray.
So you have lots of homework now. Jesus Christ.
Really quick, speaking of homework, Did you guys talk about Nick having his mac and cheese?
Oh yeah.
No, we didn't.
I had mac and cheese this week. Yo.
There you go. That was it.
Tasty.
You know what you should have done though is you should have filmed it. You should have made like your own.
I almost did.
Where you're like just like eating it in black and white. Just.
I almost did that, but I'm like, I don't know where to set my camera. I don't have like any kind of stand.
You cut between scenes of Zendaya yelling at you. So like as you're eating.
Put in the footage. I made you that mac and cheese, damn it! You didn't even say thank you.
Just staring
out of my plate because I'm out of clean bowls.
I don't know how. There was actually like I remember very vividly. I think I was like 10 when I had mac and cheese, and afterwards I was hungry, and I realized this thing doesn't work. It doesn't actually fill me up because it's not nutrients. It's legit just like salt and carbs, and that's it.
I didn't even eat it all. I switched to a more nutrient snack after that. I had like a tuna sandwich.
There you go. Yeah, got to get that protein in.
Guess what I want for lunch today? I'm gonna make some more macaroni and cheese.
Anyway. Mac and cheese and tuna. That's a good mix.
That actually does sound good.
Yeah, it sounds really good.
Yeah, I used to put sriracha on my mac and chease. That's also very good. Learned that trick in college when you buy the macaroni and cheese.
Okay. I don't know what to say to that. Except, are you guys ready to do a Wanda Vision check?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's been Agatha all along.
Oh yeah, I've had the Monster theme song stuck in my head all fucking week. Dun, 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 dun.
I've had Agatha stuck in my head all week. Then they released it it early. Like normally they release the next Friday the soundtrack, but they drop the soundtrack on like Sunday. And Agatha all along's been like number 1 on iTunes for days.
Yeah, and I've been transitioning into it. Like I mix between like it starts the Agatha all along, and then it goes straight into
I love that, to Jammer's point about Disney being a brand, that they can make random ass songs, bring them into the zeitgeist, and make them number 1 on iTunes. So like I remember when Avengers, I think it was Infinity War. Was it Infinity War with Rubber Band Man?
Yeah, because I even
shot straight to the charts. And now you're talking about Agatha shooting to the top of the iTunes charts because Disney brand.
And I even bought the song from Spider-Man, that like the Rolling Stones song that Vulture is working on, and like the pre-credit sequence when it cuts to his lab and he's like, "Going's good, boys," and he comes back with a bunch of shit. I am that guy.
I saw people getting upset at Netflix because they were promoting a movie, I Love Dick, with Catherine Hahn. Now that
I did see that.
Wanda Vision, people are like, "Fuck yeah, exactly. Fuck you. Why didn't you promote this when it came out? And now you're only doing it because she's popular on Disney Plus."
Like, yeah, that's called inefficient use of your money. That's a good use of your money to advertise it when the iron is hot. What's wrong with that?
Because you look like a craven corporation, and people don't like that.
People apparently don't want to see Catherine Hahn succeed. That's what I'm hearing.
People don't want corporations to be corporations, which they are. They want them to be people, which they're not. Despite what
legally they are.
Says. I was going to say, despite what the Supreme Court says, they're not. They're cold, heartless, and they want to. Which is weird. They want to save a buck, just like everyone else, just like you said. Like, so this week's episode of WandaVision saw kind of the wheels come off. The wheels come off. The curtain get lifted, and we saw who was behind the curtain. And as I said before, it was Agatha all along. It starts off with a Modern Family style Wanda talking into the camera about what her day is, what's going on, and saying, it's a case of the Mondays. And we've kind of, she's trying to forget what seems like they play it almost like a drunken night. Like she got drunk and did some things she didn't want to think about or something like that. And she's trying to avoid the boys and their questions about where's Dad, where's Vision, and he's off with Darcy in the circus. And she's an escape artist, and I don't know who he's supposed to be in the circus, but they seem
the clown.
Well, remember, Vision's never rewritten into a character. Technically, he's just
Vision. That was weird. But the dude kept coming to him like, yeah, you got an act. So yeah,
it's funny. He said, literally at that point, he's just like, "You're a clown. You're up next." I'm like, "Bitch, have you ever seen a clown before? Does that look like a clown?"
What else did you compare it to?
Nothing. You're like, "What are you doing here? What are you?"
Yeah, why are you here? I will say
I was not a fan of this episode. I thought that it was, if this was a movie, this would be the part of the movie where I would kind of lose interest and maybe look at my phone for a second. And that's how I felt about this episode. There were a lot of weird things that happened in it. We also saw Monica Rambeau like officially get her powers and use them a little bit in a showdown with Wanda Maximoff. And at least for me, the pacing was a little bit off on the episode. The fact that Vision was kind of stuck in a car driving to where his family was seemed kind of weird and off. I remember lamenting the fact that I hadn't asked you guys right after we signed off. I was like, shit, I forgot to ask you guys, who do you think the person that Monica called was? And then on the show, it just turned out to be some random ass major. And I was like, I guess.
Group of scrolls. Group of scrolls.
Gooder or Goodger or Goddard.
Whatever.
Goodner, that's it.
And it's not like I thought that it would be, Mr. fucking Fantastic, but there was a way to have that line. Yeah, there was a way to have that line without making me think it was somebody.
Well, some people don't think the aerospace engineer is there yet. I don't know.
I mean, is there a way for her to say that this is, I know somebody without it?
I ordered some equipment.
I know somebody.
I ordered some equipment that's going to help us get through the hex.
That's a boring line. I ordered some equipment. Would you order on fucking orderup.com, DoorDash?
It's better than I know a guy or I know a person.
Yeah.
I know someone. I
still think she's the daughter of
I made a call in for some equipment.
Because they makes a big deal about how they're more loyal to her mother than they are to Sword.
Yeah.
So I think that's a unit of Skrulls led by her childhood friend. No, Tylus's daughter.
What if it's Reed Richards in disguise?
I think that path has sailed, and I'm glad that has sailed.
So glad it's not the Fantastic Four.
I mean, it still could be. They could still somehow be utilized in some way. You don't know.
Anything.
I'm hoping that it's not.
I mean, I think I'm with you a little bit,
though. About the Ellie Goulding song.
As far as this show is concerned, and I've kind of been, I don't want to say down on the show, but I've had my problems with it. And that's not problems. I've enjoyed every episode that I've watched, but at the same time, it feels, despite all of the layers it seemingly has, it feels kind of shallow. It feels kind of spread thin. Like there's too many characters doing too many things, and there's not enough time to focus on them. Like, I feel like after we got the introduction to Jimmy Woo and Darcy in that episode 4, I think it was, I thought they were great. And then all of a sudden they really haven't done much of anything except for like fight against these guys for like one brief thing and then drive off. And they're like, it's just, everyone's kind of doing their own thing. And it's like, it's not coming together. I'm not really emotionally invested as much as I feel like. Wanda is kind of spinning her wheels. Vision's taking for goddamn ever to do anything. And then it almost feels like each episode almost feels like it restarts because it's like it's a new gimmick they have to go with. So it's like establishing everything again and establishing the kids, establishing blah, 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 blah. And it's fine. It's entertaining. It's just I don't know. It just doesn't feel. I've judged people in the past for saying like, oh, I want it to be an hour long, and I'm like, it should be as long as it needs to be. Don't worry about it. But for this show, it's starting to feel those runtimes. I'm starting to feel those runtimes where it's like as soon as something starts to happen, it's like, and it's over. And I'm like, okay,
please stand by.
Like, it kills the momentum, and it just kind of it feels like it's instead of kind of doing a nice little wave of like I don't know, of a roller coaster ride, it's like it's just like little waves instead. It's not able to go as big from one direction or another because we're not invested enough in any one particular aspect of it yet. And then it's surprising to me, like we're almost at the end. We have 3 episodes left. It's like
2.
Yeah, it feels like nothing has happened still.
Yeah. It's funny, kind of to my point and kind of piggybacking off I think that you said about Darcy not really doing anything. I remember Nick was like, man, I can't wait to see who Darcy's going to be when she gets rewritten. And it's like that. It means nothing.
Oh yeah. She's just
like, she's an escape artist. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Went nowhere.
Not going to do anything with it.
Not going to do anything. Not going to touch that.
Throwaway thing.
You're not going to touch that thing. You just, okay. Maybe it'll come back. It's frustrating to me because, like you said, we're towards the end, and like you, I've enjoyed every episode. But to have an episode this close to the end be this meh for me made it more frustrating because it feels like they have a lot more to do to make this wrap up in a satisfying way.
Yeah, and I think the reveal of Agatha is like not a surprise to anybody. Like maybe that she's Agatha, period. Sure, that. But like, if you weren't a comic person, you would still be like, she's suspicious, just because she's Catherine Hahn, and also she's oddly prominent. She's not like, if they've been dropping enough hints to the point where it's revealed, it's like, yeah, no duh, of course she's suspicious or something's up with her. But like, it just fell flat for me. I like the song a lot, and I thought it was really funny, and I love her laugh at the very end. And I killed Sparky too. Yeah, it was the best thing ever. Like, I've watched it so many times, and I just laugh so hard because she just goes, she's like, she takes so much glee out of killing the dog. It makes me happy, but at the same time, yeah, just the reveal didn't land for me, and I'm like, we don't have a lot of time. I hope they have another twist in there, because if that's the twist, if that's the big one, I'm like, it's gonna kind of suck. Yeah,
I'm telling you,
I agree.
It's gonna be just like a Thanos turning at the camera and smiling, but we're getting either Nightmare Mephisto or
but the thing is, Nightmare Mephisto, if Nightmare Mephisto pops in, I don't care. Like, yeah, it's cool.
I don't think he's gonna be the main villain. I think he's part one of his 3 villain arc.
Oh,
yeah. So like, let's suppose that this is a trilogy, and we've got WandaVision, Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange, not necessarily in order, because I think Spider-Man comes out last. To your
Spider-Man
point, Nick,
comes out first.
Yeah, it comes out
next. That's why it's interesting.
December.
No.
Doctor Strange hasn't even started shooting it.
No, I'm saying so. WandaVision, Spider-Man. Okay, so WandaVision, Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange. So to your point, Nick, you're saying like Thanos is going to turn around to the camera at the end of WandaVision.
Or Mephisto, or whoever. Yeah. And then he won't be the villain. We won't see him again. Maybe a hint of him in Loki. And then we won't see him again until Doctor Strange. He won't be in Spider-Man at all.
So the only thing that I would say to that is I think that Avengers, if we're going along with this analogy, Avengers stands alone on its own, like as an enjoyable thing. And I 100% agree with Jammer that the Agatha quote unquote twist was not a twist. And so there needed to be something more to it. So if this is all there is, and then there's a Mephisto smiling, I'll be disappointed, because I don't think that what we've gotten thus far stands alone as a complete package, or would, if that's where it went.
Yeah.
Interesting. I do have a question for Jammer. I think of him both times I watched the episode. When they say, she doesn't say you're not the only magical person in town. She's like, you're not the only magical girl in town.
Yes. I almost texted I was Jammer. Like, Madoka.
Because she's in Magical Girls.
She did. That's funny. Dude, we should have a Marvel Multiverse Monday where we talk about the similarities between Madoka 3 and this. Obviously, it's very different at this point, but still the similarities are kind of...
No, I think you're right. Sense. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that it is very similar. What'd you guys think of the singer?
I don't think he's under our control anymore. I think because now he's like surfer dude. He dropped the accent. And he's like James Franco. Snooper's gonna snoop.
But like, I don't like
just with all the rapies.
One of my least favorite tropes in TV has been used too prominently in this show. Do you guys want to know what it is? Do you guys want to guess?
No.
Go ahead.
Glowing eyes. I hate glowing eyes so much. Like, I remember whenever I watch TV and like someone walks away and then the person they walk away from, their eyes glow. It's like, ooh, they're bad. And that happens so many times. It happens all the time. And I was just like, I hate
that. Is Wanda in the comics.
But
I don't care.
I think it makes sense for this. And here's why. I think between Monica, Agatha, and Wanda, at some point you will have a scene where all 3 of them are doing shit at the same time. And unless you know whose color is whose, you're going to be confused as shit. So Agatha's is purple, Monica's is blue, Wanda's.
I mean, you're not going to be that confused if they're doing, and then you see their different colors.
Yeah, if they're like moving around like they're at a rave, like.
I mean, that's what she does. Wanda does.
Right. That's what I'm saying, and you will know that it's her because it's red.
Yeah, you don't need her eyes to be colored red for me to see that. I just see her powers.
That's what she does when she loses control, though. It's true to the comics. I don't know why it offends you.
No, it's less about if it wasn't.
Why the hell are you gonna watch?
It's been done in so many crappy TV shows where people's eyes are glowing. I don't think I would have cared as much. It's just that in a show that's already kind of being like, kind of feels like TV instead of movie. It just bothered me.
That's what reminds me. It reminds me of something. Marvel gave Thanos like real human eyes, and the shots of Darkseid had these glowing yellow eyes, and they really annoy me because I hate glowing eyes.
Really?
Okay.
I'm making fun of you.
Oh, your thing didn't make.
Darkseid has glowing eyes.
Okay.
You hate glowing eyes, so why are you watching Zack Snyder's Justice League? That's all it was.
Hey, Jammer, you don't like smokers, right? So why are you breathing air? Because some of the smoke particulates that come from their cigarettes are also in the oxygen you breathe.
No, I will say I think it's a little bit different. Like, I don't actually, you know how Captain Marvel's eyes glow, where it's like it's like actual light is coming through them. I don't mind that. I just mind where it's just like very clearly just a color filter just plunked onto their eye. That's it. That's what I.
So how do you think they do it with? Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Where it's just like a color filter, where it just kind of looks like.
But when Agatha did the exact same,
so from that perspective, him watching the next Snyder film makes sense because those are how Darkseid's eyes work. It's not a color filter. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a color filter.
In the comic books,
it's like legitimate
his eyes are just red. Yeah. His eyes I don't remember what they are in the Snyder cut, but in the comic book they're just red. Who?
The Thanos' eyes, I'm just bringing it to that, are black in the comics.
Oh.
But Marvel, now in the comics, he has pupils and stuff because Marvel is like, it's harder to relate to that face. And obviously, he has a lot more screen time than Darkseid. So it's more important.
Yeah, because what I need human in the comic books is to be able to relate to Thanos.
Like, he doesn't have fingernails or that kind of shit in the comics either. But what did I miss? Did you insult me?
Just mumbling some shit about needing to relate.
What I needed a comic is to relate to Thanos. I mean, you might in the Thanos comic.
Which there are.
He has other physical properties that make him so different from me. Having pupils won't be the thing. Like, he has eyes like me.
On the big screen, though,
but his scrotum chin.
You can't get emotion out of black, soulless eyes, whereas you need Josh Brolin's eyes. In the comic, it doesn't matter. The comic just changed it to look more like the movies, which comics are always guilty of. But
I guess. Nick, you've said the least about Wanda Vision. Let me ask you, what do you think? Do you care?
I like it still a lot.
You like it?
And I was almost gonna say I feel like it's less shallow than like The Mandalorian.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that.
I'm not gonna argue with that.
Quest show.
Yeah, Mandalorian is literally a video game. It's literally like, you must go to this distant place and achieve this thing and grab this thing. Oh, your princess is in another castle. You have to go somewhere else.
You forgot the part about his ship breaking. You forgot about that. Hey, your ship's broken.
Exactly. Yeah.
Your ship's broken.
Better get it fixed.
Why are you here? You have to do a quest.
Mandalorian, especially, it is literally a video game on every way. And like the first one was literally building up your armor. It's literally getting upgrades for your armor. Like legitimately, it's a video game. Like nothing against video games. Not saying they're all shallow, but like Mandalorian feels it's a shallow episodic show, and that's fine. But there's nothing like crazy special about it for me.
Yeah, and I would just reiterate that. I mean, it's not just the quality of the shows, but just I'm more of a Marvel guy than a Star Wars guy at this point, obviously.
Yeah, I mean,
this is my favorite Disney Plus show thus far.
I think you've gotten to the point where you just hate Star Wars. So you're like, Star Trek's better than Star Wars. Marvel's better than Star Wars. Like
more than Jammer, I think.
Okay.
Generally
speaking, no, you've pretty much buried your Star Wars love. Like
I buried two lightsabers in the ground, and then a new one came out just for me.
What?
And then I said I'm a Skywalker now
for no reason. What are you doing in my backyard? You've never been here before. Like, hey, this is why I buried my lightsabers.
I'm Skywalker. Shut the fuck up and get out of here.
Get off my property,
house
kid.
Now.
I did. So I'm very much down on this episode, but the one thing that I really did like about it was while it was annoying at the moment, the part where Darcy's explaining to him like, hey, this is what happened in the last few movies. The thing that I did like about it was his takeaway. He was like, holy shit, like this just happened for her. So that's what I really, really like about that. So from the idea, and they've made it very clear from the idea of when she was snapped to Avengers Endgame, that was like moments when she's raging on Thanos. And then from the moment that she steals his body to now, I'm not even sure it's been a week. Like
it's less than
how
3
long
weeks.
Is it? Yeah.
Oh, it's been a few weeks because it was 2 or 3 weeks. It's like 3 weeks or 2 weeks after
Monica shows up 3
Rambo
weeks.
came back.
I thought it was before Rambo came back.
It is.
I mean, she came back and then 3 weeks passed. So 3 weeks.
Yeah, and they
passed,
said that she set it up for 8 days ago or whatever, the field.
Right. So I'm saying, how long has it been since not since she stole the body, but from the snap to when she actually did steal the body?
Say less than 14 days.
Yeah.
And I still think she did it less out of grief and more because he was being used as a weapon.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's the part. Obviously. Well, I think it ties into how they changed the name of sword, right? So sentient weapons.
I want my sentient weapon back.
That's kind of what he is. He's a broken arrow. You got to get him back.
Did you guys see the meme? I can't remember where I posted it, where it's like it's them at the funeral and it's Wanda and Bucky and Falcon, and it's like three guys who should be going to therapy, but instead of getting their own TV shows.
That's good. I like that. You guys got anything else on a Wanda Vision check? Predictions for this week?
Someone predicted it's going to be a flashback episode to the birth of Wanda and the Salem witch trials, but I think that would put us. I don't want to see another episode that just stops us.
Wait, Wanda and the Salem witch trials?
Well, separate. Both show Agatha more of her origin. Okay. We're definitely at some point getting a flashback. It looks like from the footage of her in her cell.
That's very interesting phrasing, Nick. Yeah, Wanda and the Salem witch trials. Like, wait, what? No, Agatha and the Salem witch trials.
I meant Wanda and the Salem. Yeah, whatever.
So Wanda being born, and then separately, it's gonna be like a two back and forth between two different flashbacks. One in Salem witch trials and one in Sokovia.
Yeah, if they do, I don't know. I
think so. Basically, you'll get to see two origins that are going to intertwine and help you understand why Agatha's doing what she's doing and why.
Yeah, I'd rather not. I'm down with flashbacks, but I'd rather not just stop the show in its tracks again.
I just imagine more Agatha all along, where it just like shows that she's been around and she like slams like the freaking Sokovia on top of itself. It was Agatha all along. And then like in freaking at the beginning of Civil War, and just see her deflect the freaking magic that goes in like blows into that building. It was Agatha all along.
I do want that to be it. That's all the episode is. I love it.
Oh, I just had a worse image in my head from the one that you just said, Jan, where like she does the Wakanda Forever after she does it.
God. Oh God. we cut to freaking Baron Zemo, her controlling Baron Zemo and blowing up Black Panther's dad. It was Agatha all along.
Why do I always think of like the worst?
And then
things?
we see a cut to her with like a freaking Thanos glove just snapping, and it's just like and everything snaps away.
No. We cut to her in Crime Alley, and the way into
she rips pearls. It was Agatha all along.
You step on Rhodey's spine. It's Agatha. It's Agatha all along.
How many things did Agatha do? Yes, ready.
Are we reviewing? Doing a review? You're doing it. So what's happening next? Oh, that's right. So we got to pitch it to him. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, you got to pitch it to me. Pitch it to me. So it was one of the situations where work got crazy, and then also my wife was just like, "I don't want to watch this." We watched a freaking clip of it, and I was just like, "Oh no, she's not having it." And then I just ran out of time. That also happened. So yeah, I wasn't able to watch it, but I bought it for $1.99 on Apple TV. So I'm definitely gonna watch it. But you guys got to pitch it to me. So tell me what is Detective Chinatown and why should I watch it?
All right, here we go. So the BGRP review of Detective Chinatown. After failing to become a cop, a mystery enthusiast goes to visit his hapless cousin in Thailand. One is a brainiac and the other is a twitchy loser, but together they're going to solve a murder. So Detective Chinatown has a 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb and a 75% on Rotten Tomatoes. The weird thing is there are not enough reviews on Rotten Tomatoes to certify it fresh. I think I only saw like 3 reviews. So
wow.
Yeah, not a huge juggernaut. I imagine for the third one there are a lot more, but we'll see. Nick Dahl, would you like to give your non-spoiler Twitter review of Detective Chinatown?
Yeah, it's not Mission Impossible and Fast and the Furious so much, which we discussed last week, as it is Rush Hour meets Sherlock on BBC.
Okay.
Like that's my Twitter review.
That's not a review. You just compared it to something. No, give me a review.
I love it almost as much as I love those two separate elements, and it has a far more Western perspective rather than being like too foreign of a film. You know what I mean? Like
you're like none of the Asian
dancing
shit.
Or like big mechs or something. It's it's a buddy cop movie.
You know what's funny is I feel like I made a joke racist comment, and then you made like an actual racist comment. So...
did I say?
Just the things you're like, the Asian things, like mech robots and this and that. I mean, I guess those are things.
Well, you see some of those, like they show like the most ridiculous clips.
You realize that those are like mechs. That's Japanese. This is Thailand.
Well, I mean, even like another different one.
Yeah, but it's a Chinese.
Like there's that one Indian movie where like the mechs made out of like 100 different like people or something. That you see crazy special effects clips like that all the time on the corridor crew from Asian countries in that area, because you can count India, South Asian.
I'm not gonna stop you. I'm just gonna let you roll with this and see what happens.
Do you remind me that part in freaking New Girl where, what was it, Schmidt? She was trying to have him guess what race she was. And he's like, "You're Japanese." He was talking. That was Nick. Nick, I love you. I hope you know that.
God, I love Schmidt. Schmidt was so great. Max Greenfield's fucking hilarious. Anyway, what was I going to say? So I agree, and this is not my. Before I give my Twitter review, I apologize. I shouldn't apologize, but I feel bad because you're right, Nick. I pitched this movie on the promise of what another reviewer said the third one was like,
and the third one will be that, and I can see that having watched the second.
Okay, so you're gonna have to pitch me on the second one.
Okay,
but I feel it was like, oh god damn it, this is the things that you just compared it to. Absolutely right. But yeah, not what they said it was. But yeah, for me, for all of the things that this movie does right, the extended runtime isn't one of them. I thought it was too long for its own good, but I still thought it was like where it was funny, it was hilarious. I just wish it was shorter. So.
I did notice that when I saw it, I was like, "Ooh, 2 hours and 15 minutes or
15 minutes?
15 minutes? Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like
I thought that at first.
Version.
But then I was watching it and I'm like, I don't care. Can this please go on longer?
It's like Judd Apatow long. It's like Lord of the Rings long.
But it's in the Rush Hour Lethal Weapon tradition. It's closer to Rush Hour because it's much funnier than Lethal Weapon. But it is just as much an action movie as a comedy movie. It's not like other guys where it's a comedy movie pretending to be an action movie.
Right.
Like the action, it's great stunt work and like the stereotypical stuff you expect Jackie Chan to do, also like being on like top of cabinets and kicking boxes at people, or like, running across people's heads and, that kind of, or motorcycles and car chases. It's fun. And
yeah, it looks like it's fun. Like I actually super excited to watch it.
And it's bright. Like it's a very it's like the most colorful movie I can think of as far as that genre, where it's just like they just find a way to shoot everything really bright and make locations colorful. And I really like, it's basically a buddy detective movie. Of course, it's Bob's favorite genre, where you have the two people that do have, the one guy definitely has a reason to hate his uncle, who is supposedly the great detective. And then the kid is the one with the Sherlock skills, where like you see numbers swirl around his head and has similar music, and he can like move buildings around in his head and stuff to like, or go through his memory of every location he's been to remember where he saw someone.
He basically has a photographic memory and allows.
So it's like Psych.
Well,
kind of.
More Sherlock, because they use the exact same techniques as Sherlock.
Well,
which is like
Psych
moving
came out
stuff
before
physically.
that.
The Psych didn't really do a lot of moving around shit. I don't remember that from Psych. He would just have it in his head. You wouldn't like see him like.
He literally would just go like this. He go like that with his eyes, and then like it'd be close up, and they have like little things around it, and they'd zoom in on it. That's it.
I forgot that about Psych, because I do love Psych. I've seen every episode, but.
I rewatched the Twin Peaks episode yesterday, the day before.
Dual Spires.
Yeah. It's funny. I remember watching that thinking like, this is an exaggeration. And then I watched Twin Peaks like, no, this is like literally, it's almost toned down compared to Twin Peaks.
It is toned down compared to Twin Peaks.
I need to go back and watch that show. I really want to see it again.
That should be my next comfort show.
It's our comfort show right now.
I don't remember anything about it. Really?
Yeah, it's literally just the thing that I could hear it in my wife's office half the day.
It's one of those USA blue sky shows, as they called it. Used to only pitch blue sky projects to them, meaning like you put a big blue bright sky behind the characters on the poster and everyone feels happy even though there's drama. Anyway, Detective Chinatown, yo.
Would you compare it to
Detective Chinatown? Yes, in a way, but I think aesthetically Nick is more correct. So they do like literal mind palace type stuff where he's able to just recall certain things and go into his own mind and find, like, physically go in and find stuff, almost like what they did with I don't know if you saw Dr. Sleep.
I didn't know. It's on my list.
Okay. So it's like, but it's basically like that, where Psych is more akin to the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movies. This is more like the BBC version, where they use very, like Nick was saying, like the numbers are flying in front of his face, and then he goes inside of his own head to find stuff. So yeah, from that perspective, I would agree that it's more BBC Sherlock Holmes. The other thing that I thought was interesting is that Jinbei, the younger of the two guys, he had a stutter, which I was kind of curious why. At least for me, I couldn't tell what impact that had on the story other than kind of his. I couldn't tell. And I was going to ask one of you guys, Nick now. Was there something that I missed about the story that made his stutter relevant to the story, or is that just a character trait?
It's a character trait, but I seem to remember his uncle using it to his opportunity at certain times, like to buy time or to something. He'd be like, you talk to him, and then he'd like have time to sneak off, or do like this uncle used it as a skill. But maybe, I don't remember. I think he still has a stutter in the second movie, so I don't think it's something he overcomes.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I
don't think it has to be though, right?
No,
no.
I guess so. I'll put it another way. The reason why it was surprising to me as a character trait was because I thought in the beginning, and maybe it was to throw you off the scent of something. So in the beginning, he's being interrogated by this board because he wants to be a police officer. He wants to like get into the police academy, and there's an interview for it. And they ask him, why do you want to be a police officer? And he doesn't answer. And one person says, like, it can't be that hard to tell us why you don't want to do this. And I'm wondering if the stutter was kind of the setup to make you think that that's the reason why he didn't want to tell them, because he was afraid to talk and say something. But it actually turned out the reason why he did say something to them later. And I don't want to spoil it for you.
When it cuts back to the scene. Yeah.
Right. It goes back to, it does another flashback. You just didn't see it. Yeah. So I'm curious if that was the story reason why. Like you're watching this movie, you're like, oh, he didn't say anything because he didn't want to stutter in front of them. But it actually was this other reason that you find out later. So
I want to bring up one more thing I like about, without spoiling it for Jammer.
Yeah,
Jammer, you can take off your headphones for like 5 seconds or something until I get the signal. I like that both the movies are this way, so it's kind of spoiling the second movie. The mystery and then the real mystery.
Yeah.
Like they solves one thing and then it's like, oh, but this was also happening.
Yeah.
It's more rewarding that way, but that's about all I have.
Okay. Yeah, don't tell me because I definitely want to see the second one.
No, I mean, I'm talking about the first one mostly, but I liked how they added the extra dimension where he's like, but he was gay. And of course, Jammer can put his headphones back on.
All right, I'm back.
There are also interesting cultural things, about like, gay, that use gay people as like more of a joke. And is this how I pitched the second one now?
Yeah.
Spoiling the first, or do you have?
Do you need to pitch the second one?
It's a Jonesy.
I'm sold on just by watching the first one. I thought that this movie was absolutely hilarious. There are certain scenes in this movie, and I don't want to oversell them to Jammer, where I was just like laughing out loud. Mm-hmm. One of them was the handcuff scene, while that one dude is eating ramen.
There's some really good physical humor in that movie.
I remind me of Rush Hour. Laughing at that. Yeah, it was so. I laughed so hard at that. And then the other one was the everybody in the house scene when I think her name was Zhao. Was that her name?
Oh, upstairs.
Yeah. And she was like, yeah, they're upstairs. And then like everybody ended up in that one room. And then how they ended there, he was like, happy birthday. Like I almost pissed myself when they started saying happy birthday. Like it was just, the timing of it was really, really good in some of those scenes. And I thought the action was fun. But for a movie, I'm always amazed at how well some movies with subtitles do at conveying some things that are funny. And it's still all dialogue humor. It's not slapstick necessarily. So the scene with the handcuffs, that's slapstick humor, but some of the other stuff that they did was all dialogue. And I thought it was hilarious. So yeah. I thought it was fun. I would recommend this to anybody. The only thing that I would say is I think it's pretty long.
The second one's only 2 hours, so it's cool.
Oh, good. 15 minutes less.
Well, I mean, that's the kind of length these movies are these days. Like, I don't think the first Rush Hour was 2 hours, and the third Rush Hour was under 90 minutes.
It was like an hour. Yeah, it was like 90 minutes or something. Yeah.
The third Rush Hour is like 70 minutes, so it's like barely a feature film.
It's like a freaking old school. It's like Peter Pan back in the day, where it's just like, we're gonna go 68 minutes and out. We're done.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised that for a movie like this, they didn't have outtakes at the end. They did have like a Bollywood style dance scene, which is fun to watch. But for a movie like this, I kind of want to see some outtakes just because I don't know why.
The second one in the credits has dancing again, but it throws in some like not bloopers, but like extra scenes, like not even ones that came earlier in the movie, but like adding to the ending.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Because the other thing this movie does, just like Rush Hour, is set up the destination that they'll be having the second movie.
Okay.
And in the third movie, second movie's in America.
In New York, I think, right?
New York City, yeah. The third movie is going to be in Tokyo.
Paris? Oh, Tokyo. Huh.
Yeah. And they build up enough characters in the second movie, which is why I say it's becoming a Fast and the Furious, where they kind of have like a team, like a family. They never call it family, but I'm like, oh, I've watched the trailer for the third one after watching the second one. I'm like, oh, all these characters come back. So now I see the Fast and the Furious angle. And the only thing I'll say about the sequel is there's a mysterious person named Q in it. And no one knows who Q is. And I'm like,
QAnon.
Yeah, but it's 2018. I don't know how long. I'm like, that's whoever made up the QAnon thing. He like watched Detective.
Bullshit. No, you're serious.
Yeah. But it's not part of the main plot, but that's something that is there.
That's awesome.
But I really want to see the third one. I'm assuming I realized looking at the trailer for the third one, even though I watched the second one on like a streaming service I've never heard of, that's all like Chinese, Japanese, Vietnamese, like, South Asian films.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the only place you could watch it in the US. I got the free 7-day trial. I just had to make sure to cancel it. Actually, the first two with subtitles are on YouTube in HD.
No shit.
For the trailer for Detective 3. So maybe, because I'm like, Detective 3 has to be online already, because China is known for pirating stuff the most.
So they have to pirate their own stuff.
So I'll be waiting to see Detective Chinatown 3 on YouTube in HD, hopefully within the next month, because I am actually very, very excited for it, because this is...
I love how invested you are in this. It's awesome.
This is like...
It's really good.
This is a Nick Dahl franchise. Like, it hits the things I want to see.
Okay, so where's the Mission Impossible? So you've seen more of it.
Is it all practical effects?
Most of it, yeah.
Mostly.
Because, it's just, you can get away with more. And I mean, like, and it's like Jackie Chan type effects, like fighting scenes, like using objects, or like I said, there's one scene he like runs on top of a bunch of motorcycles while he's being chased.
Or the scene in the police station.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. That's very.
He's trying to get their attention and not looking at him, and he's describing him on the phone. He's like, "Yeah, we're looking for a guy. He's got a gold tooth, he's got curly hair." So his job is to cause a distraction. The police station. So it's like filled with hundreds of cops. They're looking for him. They're like, "You have to go in there and cause a distraction." He's like, "Okay." So he goes in there. He just stands there, and people like cops walk by him, and he's like looking at them, and the cops are just walking. Like he knocks over another cop's stuff. And the cop just like, what the fuck's wrong with you? And like picks up his stuff and walks on. This guy's on the phone and he's describing him. And he's like, yeah, we're looking for this guy. We can't find him anywhere. And the guy's like in his face, like, he's like, what's wrong with you? I don't know. I really, really enjoyed the comedy. So
and I obviously 100% enjoyed it enough to watch the second one the second night. Just in case someone else also watched the second one.
So yeah, Jammer, you should watch this and tell us what you think. I'm willing to bet you'll come back and you'll be like, it's not that funny.
Maybe you're. I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think so. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, we'll see.
I love that you were the one that suggested that we watch this, and you're like, nah, you know what?
It wasn't a you know what? It was literally like I don't have time. I was like, oh, I don't have time.
Well, now you own it, so you can watch it and report back next week, and we can do spoilers next week.
Mm-hmm.
If necessary. I mean, we described the movie. We need to describe everything that happens.
I mean, I took my headphones off for that one, for the apparently spoilery.
That really wasn't a huge spoiler either. I just wanted to ask.
Yeah, I still think that the movie works without that. And the other thing I'll say is I really like the ending, and that's the last thing I'll say. I like not the dancing Bollywood type scene, but what you were talking about, Nick, when he took his headphones off. Like I thought that was cool. So yeah. Anything else to say, Nick?
2 thumbs up as long as you're willing to read. But if you're not, get the fuck out.
And I give it 2 enthusiastic thumbs up. I think anybody could watch this and enjoy it, and they should. And I can't wait to see the second one. I'll probably try and watch it this weekend. Now, Nick,
is it as good as the first one, Nick?
It's Rush Hour 2 to Rush Hour.
So yes, is the answer.
What does that mean?
It's pretty close.
Yeah.
It's pretty close. Yeah. There's a few things where you're like, oh yeah, they got a bigger budget. The American actors aren't very good because they're definitely directed by a Chinese actor, or they don't speak English as their first language.
Or they were just like, oh, you speak English, so why don't you come in here and act? It's like, oh, just because you speak English doesn't make you a good actor.
Yeah, because like they don't like, you're like, this guy is not actually from the United States, because that's not how you emphasize certain words in the sentence. In some of the male characters, like when some of the American
they put the wrong emphasis on the wrong
exactly
syllable.
Where you're like, why is he saying that sentence like that?
Have you guys seen that that anime where that black guy is talking and he's very clearly not voiced by a black guy and he's supposed to speak English and he speaks? I have to
Isn't
share
that every anime with a black person?
Kind of, but it's like we're gonna have to. You're gonna have to watch the scene. I shared it in the chat. It's
okay.
If you go to YouTube, it's literally worst black guy in Japanese dub ever. And so it's the Japanese dub. It's not the English dub. It's the Japanese dub, and it has this black guy who speaks English. And
Am I
it's
going to
just
be
like,
deeply offended just by watching this?
No, because he doesn't sound like it's trying to do a racial stereotype of black. It literally just sounds like a white guy just going, "Hey, what the fuck?" as like a guy that very clearly wouldn't have that voice. But yeah,
I will say
you said you put it in the chat. Where is it?
Yeah, it's on our little chat on the side.
Not on Slack. Not Slack.
Okay.
Zoom.
I will add about the second one. Just 2 interesting things I noticed. They're not spoilers to the movie at all. Since it's set in New York, like 90% of the Americans are African American, which is interesting because I mean, right parts of New York, that would be true, but you don't really see that in our movies that much. And they make a big deal out of all Americans have guns. That's a very big joke throughout the movie. Is like, he's in a room with people threatening with kung fu or whatever, and then everyone in the room has guns trained on him. So
I didn't tell you this. Now, before we close out, I actually have to leave in a bit, but I have to tell you this. I got swatted, kind of. Do you guys know what that is?
Yes.
No.
So basically, my wife and I were, it was Friday evening or late afternoon, early evening. I just finished work and I went down and we were watching, I don't know, Hell's Kitchen or some shit. And then we were expecting an Amazon package. And then we heard a pretty overzealous knock on the door and a ring. And I was like, what the hell? And I went over there and our door is like glass. Yeah. Not all glass, but has like a glass part. So I was looking through there and I was like, this guy was kind of around the corner there. And he was like with his back up against the wall. And I saw he wasn't wearing a mask. I was like, fuck, I gotta get my mask on and everything. So I got my mask on, took my time. I opened up the door and the guy was just like, is your name, or what was it? Is your name blank? I'm going to blank out the name. And I was like, no. And I looked and he had his gun out and it was off to the side. And I was like, oh my God. And then he's just like, yeah, we got a call from this guy that he was going to kill himself. And then he's like, can I come in? And I was just like, oh no. Like, I don't even know if I would know a real cop versus a fake cop. And I was like, can I see your badge? And he's like, sure. And then as he was doing his, getting out his badge, I was just like, what the fuck am I going to know? It's not like we go to badge school where they teach us what an actual badge looks like. He could have got it from fucking.
Do you remember Bad
Walmart,
Boys?
for all I know. No, I don't remember.
The first Bad Boys, he pulled out his badge. He's like, you want badges? I got badges. I have badges right here. He like throws a badge at him because I show him his badge. He's like, that's not a real badge. I have badges right here, bitch. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, but anyways, I was just like, am I gonna let them in? And he's just like, yeah, there's like 6 of us out here. And I look, and there's 6 other cops that are like around or in front of our house. I was like, oh shit! And they all came in, and it all worked out okay.
You let them in?
They didn't I let them in because I was just like, I don't know what to do. I didn't know what to do.
I would have let them in. I've been like, okay.
Yeah, that's literally what I was. I was just like, okay.
Nothing in here you can bust me for, but
yeah, literally, it's like I was just like, all right, I didn't know what to do. And then I found out later that around the block, they apparently had guys with rifles that were like pointed at our house and shit. And I was just like, oh my God, that could have been bad. It made me happy that I was, I did let them in because I worried like, oh, because my dad was just like, yeah, I would have had my gun out and I would have not opened the door and opened the window, been like, what do you want? I'm like, yeah. And you're a brown man, you would have been shot. Yeah. So
damn.
I don't know. I don't know what's up. Someone, I think it was probably a prank. I hope
that was me.
A prank. I hope that, yeah, right. I hope it wasn't somebody who wasn't actually trying to kill themselves. I don't know if they found them, but yeah, it was definitely an adrenaline rush.
You know what makes it kind of funny is it makes your hesitance to say where you were getting your COVID shot that much more silly. Like when Nick was like, "Where are you?" You're like, "I'm not telling you." This is why.
I just meant what kind of place, and you guys answered that.
I know what you meant. Oh, now actually no, I didn't then, but I know now.
I didn't want your exact coordinates.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm in Glendale, California, over by the Americana. That's where I live.
Mm-hmm. That's where you can find them, folks.
Anything else? You guys got anything else? Any more swatting story? I have nothing. So like, that's the crazy thing. I have to close out this podcast and I got nothing. Like all I can say is good night, folks. Cause your swatting story was pretty harrowing.
I mean, not really. Now it was kind of a non-story to be honest, but it was just interesting that it happened. It would have been
interesting.
It would have been a story if I got tackled to the ground and got handcuffed. Yeah.
Yeah. And what if they were ice, man?
Oh yeah, and my dog was at the door too, and he's like, "Is that dog friendly?" I'm like, "Oh fuck yeah!" I grabbed him by the collar, and as they're walking in, I'm like trying to find a leash and put the freaking leash on the dog.
And then Agatha comes in with an MP5.
I think it's it. Agatha did it. Agatha fucking called the cops.
It was Agatha. Agatha.
And I think we can leave it there.
Yeah, I don't even think we need to plug our Twitters.
Nah, I think we're good. So, dear listeners, if you like what you heard, you can do all the socials. Like, rate, subscribe, comment, share. We definitely appreciate it. Also, check out the website. There's other great stuff on the website for you to check out, listen to, read, enjoy. So, yeah, there it is. Folks, as always, thanks for listening. We will catch you on the next one. Hasta lasagna.
Lasagna.
Mission accomplished.